Welcome to BG Insights by the Belfort Group, a videocast series where our industry experts share real-world examples of how to combat disruption in your business.
Hello, everybody. This is Don Martelli, president of the Belfort Group, and thank you for joining us for our latest edition of the BG Insights Videocast. This is a bittersweet session because I'm here with our very, very talented and ridiculously creative interns for the summer. They're coming to their internship, which is a very sad thing for us because we love our interns. They do fantastic work. So I want you all to, one, introduce yourselves, and we'll get into the questions.
Perfect. My name is Jake Ross.
I'm Drew Vaughn.
I'm Barbara Bevis.
Also known across the board as our BG All-Star. So one, first and foremost, thank you all for your hard work this summer. You all have been incredible. It's been a fantastic work to work with you, but I'm sure you'll never go away and we'll always be connected. But I got 3 questions for you today. We'll go around the room as I described before. Feel free to answer those and we'll get into the conversation. So starting with Barbara, I'd love to, I know this is your second tour with us, correct?
Yes.
So I'd love for you to talk about, briefly your perceptions or thoughts about the internship, beforehand and then afterwards, and with that unique twist of the fact that you've done it twice.
Yeah, of course. So this summer, I knew what I was coming into. I was so thrilled to get started. Towards the end of the year, I'm like, one more month, getting there, get to work for BG again. Last summer, I had no clue what to expect working for a PR and digital marketing company. And I remember looking at the Belfort Group website and just trying to understand how the small company can do so many things in so many areas and so many fields. And throughout both summers, I've learned through this talented team that we are just big thinkers and we try to get involved as in different projects with different clients, and we're always trying to expand our scope of work. And that's something that I've enjoyed getting to be a part of these past 2 summers. And now that's coming to a close, I'm really sad. I enjoyed working with this team this summer and working with clients and getting a real good feel for the PR and marketing world and the inner workings of how that company functions.
That's great. How about you, Jake? What was your perceptions coming into the internship, and now that you're kind of wrapping things up, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think first off, when I, for my past internships and then coming into this one, I came in, I'm like, all right, I'll probably do more, stereotypical intern work per se, or maybe, I'll have some busy work here and there. But I got in and I was just thrown in, right into the action. And that was absolutely amazing because it's really about what you learn in the experience, and you guys trusted me. And like, that was one of the biggest things. And I know I'm a younger person that only going my sophomore year. So my expectations are like, maybe they won't trust me as much, but the fact that, I came in and like the second day I was working with crisis communications, like, there you go. That really set the tone for the internship, and I was genuinely impressed, and it made me really excited for the rest of the summer.
Great. And how about you, Drew? What was your perceptions coming in and then now that you finished up?
Yeah, I completely agree with both Barbara and Jake with what you guys said. And also to add on to that, I kind of just thought I'd come in, I'd be shadowing a few people like my superiors and just watching what they did. I did not think I'd be able to present my own ideas and be able to ask the questions I had and go off of each and every account in a different way. So it was really a unique opportunity to get to do that.
Sure. I'll stick with you, Drew, on this question. Whether it's one thing, two, three things, 10 things, 50 things, what will you take with you from this internship in terms of what you learned?
Yeah, well, I learned so much. So one of like the biggest takeaways I got from this is I learned how to work with a team. So I think a lot of us grow up playing like sports and doing teams like in that aspect, but I learned how collaborative the field is. And for such long-term goals or even short-term goals, it takes a team to do all of those tasks. And I can't think of a better team than BG to work with. And then another thing I learned is the importance of research and also staying up to date with news and media, because when you're going into a meeting, you want to present ideas and ask questions that are relevant, and you don't want to have misinformation, and you want to be prepared. And then the third thing that I was the most interested that I learned learned about was the personalization that goes into each social media post and the thought behind it. You'd think you just log on to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and type it and post it, but there's so much like a process of drafting copy and getting it approved. So I thought that was really interesting.
It's great. I can see you all three of you nodding your heads because I'm sure you all have the same sentiment. But Jake, how about you in terms of some of the things you'll take with you in your next internship or through school? What's some of that stuff that's sort of sticky with you?
Yeah, well, I got to agree with Drew here in terms of, social media, in terms of just all the prep that goes into it, pub cals, scheduling, like editing and sending it off to this person for approval, this person. And like the biggest takeaway in terms of that is how small things like really matter in the bigger picture, right? So say you miss a period on something, right? That has more of a detrimental effect than you would think, right? So taking the extra time to make sure you have completed the smaller tasks is something that has really been at the forefront of what I've learned from all these experiences.
That's great. And how about you, Barbara? Now that you have this second time around, I mean, I'm sure there's things you picked up the first time, but what did you learn this time around?
Well, this time around, I definitely agree with Jake and what Drew said. I definitely think working with a team and being in that collaborative work environment has been a huge process, and it's something I've been able to develop and gain those skills. I definitely think something that I've learned this summer is kind of getting more involved in unfamiliar areas and kind of just expanding my own skill set, being an advocate kind of for myself, wanting to try to expand my knowledge on PA or with different clients and help out with different projects and just always trying to learn and making it more of a learning experience and gaining those skills through the feedback and through observations. And that's something that I've developed this summer. Also, I feel that this summer I've learned a lot about developing social media strategies to increase engagement and to really understand what our audiences want to see and what's going to draw them in. And kind of getting behind that, analyzing data, looking at previous posts, seeing what was most popular, and really trying to build on that and create action items to move forward with for future purposes.
That's great. That's great. Last question for you all. Think about the next crop of interns that are coming in, right? Starry-eyed, eager, unknowing, right? Just have no idea what's coming at them. And I'll start with Jake on this question. What advice would you give a young Don Martelli coming into an internship at at BG?
Well, I think first off is don't be afraid to ask. I think that's one of the biggest things in life, really, is like don't be afraid to ask. But in terms of, when I came in and I onboarded onto BG, I'm always like, hey, like, what can I do for work? Or, if I have work that I'm unsure what to do, just ask. Don't be afraid, because everybody's been in your position at some point in their BG career. Everybody's been new at some point, and so everybody's going through the experiences, and they want to help you. So don't be afraid to ask questions.
That's a great advice. Drew, you're up next. What advice would you give?
Yeah, kind of echoing what Jake said. If you don't know why you're doing something, just ask. Everyone's been so welcoming and they answer if you have a question. And then another thing would be, I think if you're coming into this internship or any internship, always present your own ideas, even if you don't think they're going to be great or the best. Just present them, go from there, and hope for the best. And then the third thing is I'd say just have fun, develop great relationships. Like I feel like I've made so many friends from this, which is awesome. And yeah.
That's great. And last but not least, Barbara, what advice would you give? I guess you probably can give yourself advice because you've done this twice, but what advice would you give if Barbara was doing this for the first time? What advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, of course, Don. I agree with Drew and what Jake said. I definitely ask questions, ask so many questions. That's how you learn, and that's how you know how to improve your own skills. And I also think always asking for feedback, always taking that feedback and putting that towards your next project. and kind of keeping that in mind when you're working. So
that's great. Well, on behalf of the entire Belfort Group team, I want to thank the three of you for elevating our internship program even more so, because the young, talented men and women that come behind you have some massive, massive shoes to fill. And take your own advice, right? We're not going anywhere anytime soon. We're family now. We're friends. Feel free to reach out to us at any given time, whether it's in a month, 2 months, 10 years, 30 years, if I'm still doing this at that point, but I'm sure I will, maybe, hopefully. But again, thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your collaboration. Thank you for your friendship. We can't, looking forward to see the three of you go on, do bigger and better things than us, and become the mavens of the world, and go on and do great things. So I can always say that they started their stuff at BG, which is a very proud point of contention for us here at the agency. So thank you guys again for your hard work, and now we'll see you again soon.
thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.